This started come about. I started to uh, find an organization local to me, like a normal or something like that, and I found other vets that were using cannabis, and I found that different ways to use it. Right, vape pens. I didn't realize. I didn't know what a dab was. I had no idea. I was just always packed a bowl and roll a joint. Which, by the way, I still pack a bowl and roll a joint because I'm old school that way. It's part of my therapy, and I didn't realize it was therapy. So as I reached out to organizations and groups that I was familiar with, that I had similar interests, that were also interested in cannabis. Partially so I could find a source because I needed a source, and second off because I wanted to find like-minded people. And then when I immediately started finding the like-minded people, I noticed that uh, the the cannabis industry, in the activist world is most made up mostly of people who are viewed as either hippies or stoners and things of that nature. And the truth of the matter is, it's not. Most of these activists are mom and dads, and they're soccer mom. They're the like average people, just like you and I, right? There is a part of this culture that is famous, and we all know about it. That's the dreadlocks and the pot leaves and everything else, and we love that. But what I found out over the past, 7 years of doing this was that the information and the argument that was coming out was just blatantly being ignored. No matter how hard these activists work, I was like, why is it constantly being ignored? Why are you guys constantly shifting over just because you're uncomfortable talking to a person that looks a certain way? And I saw problems within there that wasn't necessarily the cannabis industry's fault or the activists' fault. It was the history of how this has evolved, right? We've demonized this plant for so long that the generation of my mom and dad and your mom and dad, they're retiring right now. They're not in power, but they had a heavy influence on the children, you and I, in our generation, are all in power now. So you have about 50% of that generation that's not really for cannabis, and they're having to really, learn why. And they also come from a generation of, that's you don't flip flop. You stand your stand on your own 2 feet, and your word is God, and well, you also grow and change over the years, and it's okay to say I thought one way and now I think a different.